Howdy, folks. This is Captain Jack, and it's not exactly like my other Share Don't Tell presentations, but I thought we should talk about backgrounds because for people that came after this era of when these were widely used in PowerPoint presentations, you might not be familiar with the way that you have to format things so that it shows up properly. And I think that backgrounds are something that people use a lot during National Poetry Month when they're first starting to experiment and try out new things. So here's where I run through some of the classic Windows background options that you'll come across on the internet, and there will be different forms of them. So, and this is also a rating of them. So for Papyrus, which is what this is called, I give it a 7 out of 10. It works pretty well in most situations. Most colors show up on it. You just have to be careful about like adding an outline to things, which is why I used arrays to text for all of these ratings. Texts is so that it will show up properly time after time. This one is called Canvas, so it's a paler version of Papyrus. The texture is very eye-bleeding. The thing that you have to be careful about when you're using backgrounds on poems as your way of creative design is thinking about an accessibility option. So anytime you post a poem that has a background on it, you should really be posting also an alt text to that poem for people with screen readers or just people in general that like can't make out how grainy it is, or if the publishing center decides to decline on showing images. There's a lot of things going on there. This is Denim, one of my favorites. Gets a 7 out of 10. You'll see that in these ratings, I rate it kind of low because they're all kind of eye bleeding and they're all kind of bad, but they're all nostalgic to me. So Denim gets a 7 out of 10. I would recommend not using it as a full screen option, just using it as one block. You'll see on others in here that you should only use it as one block. This is Woven Matte. It's somewhere in between Papyrus and Canvas. It's a 6 out of 10. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's supposed to look like burlap, essentially. This is like you're putting different things underneath a microscope. Water droplets, 9 out of 10. Now, water droplets, despite the fact that you have to really mess around with the text functions to get things to show up right, is the only soothing background that you'll come across in this set, I think. And also, you can do a lot of things to it with changing the colors to like reflect on different things. And I just like it. 8 out of 10 is the paper bag. Again, it's something you might want to like condense into just one block because when you have it all spread out, it doesn't make sense anymore. And I don't know what you'd be writing about. Maybe like the environment or something to use paper bag. I just like it. Fish fossil gets a 10 out of 10. Probably my favorite of these backgrounds textures of all time. It's maybe one of the most famous Windows background textures. I think like everybody who ever used Windows 98 or XP knows what this is. This is called Sand. It looks like static. It's not good. It's not bad. It's right in the middle. I don't know what you would use it for unless you're writing something. I would use it to write about something with pop culture and then alter the colors a bit. Once again, not good, not bad. We have green marble. White marble is a little bit nicer. You can do more with it. Brown marble looks like a cut of bad stick. I don't personally go out for the brown marble, but everybody has their own choice. Granite, again, looks like static, like the sand. If you're going to go with a stone cut that's white and black, go for the marble. This is newsprint, is what they call this one, but you can't. So it's just supposed to be the texture of newspapers, but that texture doesn't really make sense in many applications. There's other paper textures that make more sense to use. This one is not one of them. Um, this one's called recycled paper, and it makes even less sense than the newsprint paper. -1 out of 10. Parchment, it would be nice if you could actually see it. It depends what you're writing on top of it. And the thing with the fonts in Microsoft Office is that, uh, well, the fonts are a completely different thing. Okay, this one is stationary, so it's a little bit better than parchment. You know, you can make out more details. It might look better behind something. Blue tissue paper, step up, I think. Um, I see it having, several options. Pink tissue paper, same thing. Blue and pink, it's the same. Let's see what else we have. Purple mesh gets a pretty high score for me because it does not make much sense, but it's a lot of options for what you can use it with. You know, main thing about textures is how can you use it and when would you be using it? This one's called Bouquet, and you can vaguely make out the pattern that it's talking about, um, but it also just looks like a bad logo from the 90s. So unless you're talking about like WandaVision, which I'm sure some of you would, we're going to move on to Cork. Cork is a 9 out of 10. Again, Cork is something you might want to just condense to one section there because it does get out of control very quickly. Um, Walnut looks like somebody's fake floor. Oak looks like somebody's fake floor as well. They all look very fake. That's all I have to say. And then this one's called Medium Wood. And we're not going to make a joke about that because this is an educational series. So there's our final ratings. Um, I I don't know if anybody was going to take the time to watch over 7 minutes of commentary to disagree with me over these ratings. Um, but this is just to get you thinking about what you can possibly do with creative formatting for National Poetry Month. All right, folks. Like and subscribe. Have a wonderful Sunday. I'm Jack, and I will see you all next week.